What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another page of the playbook. This is Nate coming at you guys. You know what it is, 32 NFL off seasons in 32 days. I know I said a few videos ago I'm not going to be able to do it in 32 days. I'm going to get them out every day for the 32 days that we're doing this. Today's team, we got the Cincinnati Bengals.
Before we get into today's video, guys, I just want to give a special shout out to today's sponsors, starting with Gold Fine and Bowles, Lawyers for the Injured. Personal injury, workers' compensation, those are their two things, but any sort of legal advice, they're the people to call. Give them a phone call, 309-673-5144. Tell them we sent you, okay? And I'd also like to shout out SeatGeek for sponsoring today's video as well. Use promo code PlaybookSports on their website to get $20 off your first purchase of $30 or more. Let's get back to the video.
Last year, let's talk just a little bit about last year. Obviously a bummer, right? Coming off of the Super Bowl appearance the year before, or no, I'm sorry, the AFC Championship game and the Super Bowl the 2 years prior. You're like, all right, let's just keep going, keep doing this thing. We've got Mahomes' number a little bit. Let's keep it rolling. Unfortunately, lost Burrow to a wrist injury, lost Jamar Chase to multiple injuries. That obviously just completely derailed their season. And that's kind of a bummer because last year was their last season with those three receivers all affordable together, right? There's no more Burrow, Higgins, Chase, Boyd because they can't afford that. That last year was really their last year with all these weapons. So it's kind of a bummer. So now they face the task of trying to build up some of the talent that they're going to lose. Can they keep pace with the rest of their division? And I think all three of the other NFC North teams have all improved significantly, let alone the Kansas City Chiefs, who are going for a three-peat here. It's getting really annoying having to say, like I'm doing all of these with, you're either rebuilding, so you're starting to add talent like the Panthers, or you're trying to win now. And if you're not doing everything you can to catch and pass the Kansas City Chiefs, I don't like what you're doing. Sorry. Let's talk about what the Bengals have done, if they can continue to keep pace, or if another fourth-place season's in the books for them. We'll see. Coaches lost. They did lose offensive coordinator Brian Callahan, who took on the head coaching job in Tennessee. So kind of a tough loss there. But they did promote Dan Pitcher, who's been with the organization since 2016. He's been the quarterback's coach since 2020. So he's got a good idea of this offense, a good idea of the talent. He's been there for the same amount of time as Burrow's been there. So they've obviously worked together with him as a QB's coach. I like that promotion. Obviously, I don't like him as OC more than Brian Callahan as OC, but that's a pretty good promotion from within, so I like that. Let's talk about talent acquired, talent lost. We'll start talent lost. Players leaving via free agency or trades. We'll start defensive lineman DJ Reader. He has left for Detroit via free agency. They also lost offensive lineman Jonah Williams, who signed a free agent contract in Arizona. Chidobe Awuzie has also left the team, and then Tyler Boyd has signed with the Titans. So right there, you've got about 2-3 starters-ish. Tyler Boyd's a number 3 receiver. The big questions for them when it comes to player losses is definitely going to be T. Higgins and Trey Hendrickson. No, they haven't lost either of them as of this point in time. They have both requested trades. T. Higgins has said, I would like out. I don't want to play on the tag. I'd like a contract, and they can't give him a contract. They can't afford it. So they've obviously got some moves to make. Would be very hard to replace both Trey Hendrickson and T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd if all of them were to walk. So they've got to figure that out and try and juggle some things around. Let's get into talent brought in to replace these guys. They did bring in offensive lineman Trent Brown, who will just be kind of a one-for-one replacement with Jonah Williams. And they brought in Sheldon Rankins, who will be decent depth at defensive tackle, considering they lost DJ Reader as well, although he's not DJ Reader. Let's not get it twisted. They re-signed Von Bell at safety, and they also brought in Geno Stone. So they've got a few safeties now ready to go. Geno Stone currently listed as the starter over Von Bell, but I think that they'll probably run a little bit of a lot of three safety sets during the season. So when it comes to free agency, players added, player loss, I would say, as of right now, an overall net loss in overall talent. A lot of that talent coming from like DJ Reader. They've lost Tyler Boyd, who they didn't replace. So they've got to make some moves. Can they do it in the draft? That's what I want to talk about. And with their first pick in the draft, they took offensive lineman Amarius Mims. I love me some Amarius Mims. Having him at pick 18 is a fantastic pick. Actually, during the live stream, a little pat myself in the back moment, I predicted that pick. I was the only one who said, I think Amarius Mims goes here at 18, and he sure did. I think he has top 5 offensive tackle in the NFL upside. He has all-pro potential. Has all the potential in the world. The guy's an absolute mountain. He just doesn't have the reps. He'll get the reps. He will get the reps. So I love that pick. I like Chris Jenkins in the second round. I thought that was a pretty solid pick. Again, you're trying to replace DJ Reader. Chris Jenkins is a pretty good dart to throw there. I think he'll definitely rotate in regularly with Sheldon Rankins on the defensive line. Again, just more bodies to try and replace DJ Reader. I really like the pick in the third round of Jermaine Burton, wide receiver out of Alabama. Very solid athlete, good size for the position. I do think day one he'll be the number 3 receiver in Cincinnati, and if T. Higgins were to go, I think he could fill that T. Higgins role pretty effectively. I think he fell down boards a lot, and I'm not totally sure why. I know you got some off the field questions about him, but Cincinnati seems like they've got a pretty good culture going in that locker room, so I really like the Jermaine Burton pick. And then I also thought it was a smart pick taking Eric All in the 4th round, tight end out of Iowa. I mean, you can't miss with those normally. I do know also injury questions there too, but he's a very good all-around tight end. Can block, can catch, run solid routes. He does everything, whereas Mike Gesicki, who they brought in free agency, who I didn't mention, there's a reason for that because I don't think he's very good. He's just a big receiver. He can't block to save his life. So if Eric All comes in healthy, he should be the starting tight end day one, in my opinion. I think they had a solid draft. I don't think it was spectacular. I don't think this was some fantastic draft class. I think this was a solid draft class where they plugged some holes. Marius Mims can be a top 5 offensive tackle in the NFL with the right coaching. I wish that Callahan hadn't left and maybe his dad was still the offensive line coach or was brought in to be the O-line coach for Marius Mims because I would love to watch him get his hands on him. But at the same time, I still think Marius Mims can get there. And I also see Chris Jenkins as a potentially good rotational guy on the defensive line. I do see a role for both Jermaine Burton and Eric All. I think Jermaine Burton will probably be the guy that contributes the most day one. I don't know if they're going to want to start Marius Mims right away. He is still very raw. But I do think Jermaine Burton's a day one contributor. Tyler Boyd's gone. T. Higgins may hold out. I don't know if he'll play on the franchise tag or not. But I like Jermaine Burton a lot in this offense. I think he could be solid. And again, with a solid draft, I give him a solid B. So overall, this offseason, I think that this offseason hinges really on 2 things for Bengals. It hinges on Joe Burrow's continued recovery from his wrist surgery that he had to have. I'm seeing things on X about how it's still like healing, and it's kind of a weird thing. I'm a little worried about it that we're still talking about his wrist injury because it means that there's something wrong still, or he's not fully back yet, or it's just taking some time to heal. I don't know. Either way, we need a healthy Joe Burrow. The Bengals need a healthy Joe Burrow if they want to accomplish anything at all. And then the other one is what's going to happen with T. Higgins and Trey Hendrickson. If they have to deal T. Higgins, I think they can survive that. I think they can survive losing T. Higgins this year. I don't know how they could possibly survive having to trade Trey Hendrickson. I really don't. Outside of Trey Hendrickson on that defense, there's nobody who gives any fear. As an offensive coordinator, I would have nobody on that side of the ball where I'm like, ooh, that's a tough one. I don't want to have to deal with this guy. I mean, think about it. Who on the Bengals defense right now, outside of Trey Hendrickson, are you like, we got a game plan for this guy? There isn't one. There's not a single one of them. They've got some good safeties. Linebacking core is middling. Defensive line is Trey Hendrickson and a bunch of guys trying to replace DJ Reader. It's not inspiring. So you cannot let him go. Absolutely cannot let him go. If Trey Hendrickson walks and or T. Higgins walks, this is a disaster of an offseason. But since they are both here and they haven't both left yet, I'm giving this offseason a B-, because, once again, I need to see them trying to take steps to catch the Kansas City Chiefs and even the Baltimore Ravens. The rest of their division, the whole AFC North is so loaded right now, you cannot afford to have even net even off seasons. The Steelers, Ravens, Browns, all very, very solid off seasons. You cannot be net even if you're the Bengals here. You cannot afford to get stagnant because then you're looking at 4th place in your division and you're not even coming close to getting back to a Super Bowl with Joe Burrow. And his contract extension money is going to start kicking in. So you think you're hurting for money now, just wait till you have to pay Jamar Chase too. And then you're in some real trouble. So Bengals, I'm going B-. That honestly feels a little nice now that I'm sitting here talking about it. I want to lower it. I'm not going to. I'm sticking with my grade of a B- for them this offseason. But Bengals got to get rolling. You guys got to do something and get back into talk as one of the AFC elite. I just don't see it right now. So that's all I've got for you guys on today's NFL offseason. And we will be coming at you guys next up with the Cleveland Browns. We'll see you guys in the next one.